Hello, welcome to True Hoop with me, Jarod, Hector, and Coach David Thorpe. How are you, sir?
I am well. I sit before you a humbled man, as I told you earlier. Did my 40th prep class reunion over the weekend, and pretty sure I'm the dumbest guy in the room. And I liked being that. I have no problem being that. But it was nice. I knew those boys when we were all 18. So there's some grandfathers in my class now, and a lot of success stories and quality people. It was really a lovely and humbling experience for sure.
Always fun to reconnect with people you spent, formative years of your life in, and that's what college is for so many of us, right? Those 4 or 5 years, however long you're there, are very informative and illustrative on many ways who you become as an adult. So yeah, glad you had a good time. I won't say your nickname.
Listen, it's no big deal. They were a very smart group of guys. I don't think they were very original. And came up with nicknames. Most of us add a Y to the end of our name so you could figure it out from there. I didn't love it then. I didn't hate it. There could be worse. I'll tell you this. I talked to one of the guys I was friendly with who's done very well in his life, and he doesn't like a particular older brother. And I said, why? He's like, he gave me my nickname, and I had forgotten for a minute what his nickname was, but it was Stump for reasons I have no idea. He's a pretty thin-looking, athletic dude, always was.
Right.
Nevertheless, that was his nickname, and he did not like it. So we all have those stories. Yeah,
I like it. That's a good one.
Sorry, Howard.
They might be listening. So hello, gents. Welcome to True. A little housekeeping for everybody. Of course, as you all know, you get our podcast through Apple, Spotify, Stitcher, SoundCloud, wherever you find your audio pleasure. You also can subscribe to our YouTube channel at True Hoop, and you get the full video podcast, and you get to see mine and David's handsome faces every day talking to you about the world of the NBA.
Sorry, one of us is old, getting very old. I apologize. I'm doing my best.
All good. All right, David. You have a piece coming out on truehoop.com, which all of you should be subscribed to, and it's David's annual Predict the Records, and it's less of a. So one of the ones we talked about in the past was Kevin Pelton's from ESPN's, and what he did was over-unders, right? And it was setting the line at 48.5 or whatever. And he's like, this is about where I think it's going to be. And then Vegas actually has the over-unders out now for most teams. And one commonality I see between Pelton's over-unders, Vegas over-unders, and your actual win total. You don't do over-unders. You say win total. It doesn't seem, David, that there's going to be any kind of NBA juggernaut in the league this year winning 60 games. And you believe the reason for that is what we've been talking about for the last 2 years. The NBA wanted parity, and they haven't now. There's so much talent spread out all across the league. No one's going to run away and hide with 60 wins, barring, of course, major injuries and luck that happens to go in that team's favor.
Right. Well, you have to look at the other. The converse of that is who are the terrible teams in the West? The easy name to jump out is Portland. But what if I told you they have DeAndre Ayton and Robert Williams and Matisse Thybulle, right, and Malcolm Brogdon right now?
They can guard.
Right, exactly. And Shaedon Sharpe as an offensive player. Anthony Simons as an offensive player. Scoot Henderson as a rookie. Yes, he probably struggles, but still pretty talented maybe on both ends. Can't shoot, but he can do everything else. And that's the worst team in the West. So, and Detroit's got Cade Cunningham.
Yep.
Jaden Ivey and Oscar Thompson and all those big dudes that they have, plus Bogdanovich. And I could go on and on. So, and that's probably the worst team in the East. So as I wrote, and you haven't seen this part because I just added it, but there's not going to be a lot of win streaks. There's going to be a lot. It's a roller coaster ride this year. It's going to be a lot of wins and losses, not just wins.
And what's interesting about that? I wonder, with that being said, and this is about the players taking it seriously, how valuable or how important will that in-season tournament be, right? In that, it'll be a chance for a team to win a trophy, right?
And money.
Right. Because as you said, no 10, 12, 15 game winning streaks likely happening this year with the good teams that we have. So if you get lucky enough to get into the finals of the in-season tournament, that's a big deal.
What does the winning team make per player?
I don't remember off the top of my head.
It's a big number.
It's nice money. And look, for the if you're a team that makes it and you have, fucking Supermax players, no, it's not going to matter.
No, they don't care.
Right. But everybody else who doesn't make that money, that is a nice chunk of change you're going to get.
Right.
So it'll be exciting to see how that plays out. All right, so you had two teams that you can win 50 games, and it's funny because they're old teams, two teams with old guys.
Yeah. It took me a second to remember who it was.
The Warriors and the
Yeah.
Phoenix Suns. Let's start in Golden State. First, you like the addition of Dario Saric.
Yeah, I mean, everyone's talking about Chris Paul, obviously, and Kuminga is getting some excitement. You know, deservedly so. Averaged over 20 games in the preseason. I really like Saric for them. I mean, yeah, it'd be great to have a regular starting center,
right?
But for the money they had, which was nothing, what he can do defensively, his ability to just be a passer, playmaker, facilitator fits right in with how the Warriors play.
Yep.
29 years old, high IQ guy, been out for a little bit, should be pretty fresh now. Yeah, I think he's plug and play for them, and that isn't easy to do for that team.
No.
There's other teams. Sarge can plug and play for anyone. Not everyone can do that for the Warriors. So he can. So, yeah, I think that with him and Paul, Chris Paul in the second group to start games is going to be helpful, I think. I'd like to see him with Kuminga. I think that'll help Jonathan do better. We'll see about how Moses Moody goes. They've got a guy in their team, Jarod, named Curry, who's interesting in that he still looks like he's phenomenal. And Wiggins, I thought, looked really ready to go this preseason. Draymond's injury, I think, is going to end up helping a little bit. It's going to force Sarge to play a little bit more. I also have a sneaky suspicion, that's all this is, that we're going to see a little more from Kevon Looney. He's a year into his new deal. Green's out. He's kind of a made man, and I think in his own mind, I don't know, Kevon, that's just my guess. But, yeah, I just think that he's got some growth. The baby KD's got more to give. Maybe remind people a little bit of who that guy used to be. So, yeah, add it all up. Add up the fact that almost every team is dealing with new guys or new coaches, like in the case of Phoenix with both. The Warriors are who they are. And the guy they're plugging in to play a lot of minutes, Chris Paul, is called the point guard. Like, what can he figure out right away? You know, that brilliant guy. So I like all that. You mix it all together, and it's I think I only had him at 50.
Yeah, that's it, 50.
So it's not like I'm at 59.
No.
But, yeah, I think that they can be the class of the West regular season. I'm not talking about postseason yet.
Yeah, well, because who knows what teams are going to look like come the postseason.
Yeah.
What I'll say about the Warriors is interesting. So, of course, Chris Paul came over in the Jordan Poole trade. The Poole piece is interesting because while Poole was bad last year, Poole played 2,400 something minutes last year. 60% of the team's minutes, the most of anybody on the team. That's a lot of minutes to replace. You love the point guard. I love the point guard. What is not a recipe for success is Chris Paul playing heavy minutes in the regular season, because then he won't be ready for when you really need him, which is come the postseason. So they're going to have to manage that. And to your point, play, as you said on our call this morning, not about them, but about these teams in sort of a larger point. Kuminga, Moody, these younger guys are going to have to play, make mistakes, and you might lose games as a result. But the goal is, come April and May, they're ready now. They can play postseason minutes and be very good for us. But that's a tough balance for coaches to handle, because as you always say, David, they worry about the right now and winning today. I think Kerr's a little bit better than most,
right? But
it's hard for coaches to do that.
Kerr has the luxury of knowing he's not getting fired. You know, he's got the trust of his team and new management ownership. Brandon, what is his last name? The rookie they have from Santa Clara. Pozmieski.
Yeah. That's it.
He's intriguing. The Warriors have failed a few times to draft the kind of the heady lead guard guy. He's just another one of these guys. But again, like to your point, he's going to have to play. The load management, the war on load management that the NBA has decided to declare is going to exact a toll. There's going to be collateral damage for sure.
You're right.
And so how teams handle that, how they handle resting their players, is it less minutes? As you said on our phone call earlier, do they just lie and have them miss games? We're going to have to – that's going to be a story. We're going to probably write about it at some point this year, is what teams are doing to get to the postseason healthy.
Because that's the most important thing, right, is to deliver as many healthy bodies to the postseason as possible. Now, the NBA is going to try to tell you, but everything matters. So does the regular season, which we understand. But at this pace with 82 games, both can't matter, right? Because if you prioritize one, you're going to run out of gas come April. And we see it every year. As you say it a million times, you know why Christian Braun looks so amazing in the finals? Because he didn't play all year and had plenty of energy to run around everybody.
Yep.
Well, that's that's a big deal. The other team you had winning 50 games also reliant on older people. Specifically, one awesome older person in Kevin Durant, who is 35 years old. Still plays at an all NBA level when he plays, but for the last few seasons, he's missed a significant amount of games. For all those injuries have been fluke, but listen, those things happen. It's basketball, it's a contact sport. But what do you like about Phoenix? And for them, like the Warriors, how important is getting Durant and those guys rest matter come April and May?
I mean, it probably is going to matter a lot. Durant more so, we don't have a lot of memory of Durant kind of fading out of a postseason, just getting hurt or not getting hurt. So yeah, they've got to try to keep him. What is Beal, 30?
Yeah, Beal's in his 30s. Yeah.
So I like that trio.
30, he's exactly 30.
Yeah, that trio is pretty special.
Yes.
And they've got some depth because of some of the deals they did. I happen to like their coach a lot, and Frank Vogel, and I think that he'll build a good defensive foundation. Whereas maybe 5 years ago, some of these guys might think, man, this dude's crazy. Why are we doing this? They're not going to think that after what they did with the Lakers when they won that championship in 2020.
Agreed.
They were a really, really impressive defensive team. And so I think his words will fall on eager ears. And so when you factor all that in together with the way those three guys can play, I told you maybe on Thursday, the way the Nets ran out the Celtics made me. I heard Zach Lowe and someone else talk about it, and I thought, you know what, this team has that kind of potential.
Yes.
But because to the original point of just getting to the postseason, they're not going to win 60 games because and they have a center issue too. I don't think Nurkic.
Right.
I think they need to scour the G League and the waiver wires and two-way guys and find themselves a guy that can jump to 12 feet, catch and dunk, and rim protect a little bit. That, I think, is a better partner than what Nurkic can be, and let Nurkic be the backup. But we got all season to figure it out.
I like what you're saying there. Also, too, for Frank Vogel, he has experience managing an older team, right? The Lakers were older when he had them. Yeah. Another player who I think will be important for them, and this goes to the, Victor Vogel has some, he just got hired, so likely he'll be getting fired next year is probably not likely. Do they let someone like Nasir Little play, make mistakes so that come April, May, he matters? Because David, this is a guy who bouncy, super athletic, 6'7" long, can guard. Like, if he figures some things out, that's a valuable player to have on the court. You got to take the lumps though. When he messes up, and it might cost you games in the regular season, but it might be better come postseason.
Yeah, I typically stop following teams as they fall out of relevancy. And so I don't remember, but I think Nasir Little was making some progress last year.
He was.
And so, yeah, that's the whole thing is, can you get, don't they have Grayson Allen?
They do. Who started for the Milwaukee Bucks.
Right. And Nasir Little. Yeah. Like, these guys can provide quality depth for them and allow them to not overplay Booker, Beal, and also potentially KD.
No, that's exactly right. And so, yeah, those are the two 50-win teams. So that leaves the question that people are probably asking, David, what about the Boston Celtics? What about the Milwaukee Bucks? They just got Damian Lillard. The Bucks should be awesome. And I agree they should be awesome. But what I'm worried about, which I imagine you are too, Chris Middleton's health. And as much as I love Brook Lopez, he's 36 now. Can I guarantee he's going to play stellar defense again at this age? Maybe, but maybe not.
Yeah, I think I had Boston 1 and Milwaukee 2, 49 wins and 48 wins, I believe.
47 wins I think you have for Milwaukee, I think.
Maybe so. So Milwaukee has, we have a couple concerns. The Brook one is one. The Middleton one's much bigger. Yeah, I wrote that. Yeah, that's an issue. He's not even back now. Yeah, we don't know what's going to happen with him.
He did play a preseason game. He played
one game.
Minutes,
yeah. So I mean, is he going to be full board Wednesday night? Probably not.
Right.
And can he stay healthy? Probably not.
Right.
Giannis and Dame are pretty amazing.
Pretty
together.
Good. That's a nice duo.
I like Pat Connaughton fine. they're going to be really good. But in years past, the top teams were at 55 wins plus projected. You're not getting fat in this. The Magic are going to suck,
right?
But they're not going to suck that bad.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they got plenty of talent. It's just not easy to get these wins. And so what's going to happen is on nights where you got to sit Middleton, who does have a legit knee concern. They don't have Drew Holiday.
Right.
There is going to be some defensive issues there. You're going to get beat in games that you normally wouldn't get beat. And you're going to have some 1 in 3 weeks. And they're not even going to play that badly. They're just playing good teams. And so one of the keys is going to be for these guys that are so used to winning 50-plus games and feeling like they're contenders, and then when they're not on that schedule to win in many games, they don't feel like they're contenders. No. Yeah, we are. Like, don't lose track of where we're going just because, at one point we're 3 games above 500, 20 games in, whatever. Let's just keep going, keep learning, keep figuring stuff out. We're going to be okay come April. That's got to be the thought.
Yep.
You can't lose. A coach has to make sure they don't lose the team before they should be lost.
Right.
Because it's going to be a really tough league. The NFL knows this all too well.
Right.
Whole bunch of NFL teams have been barely above average during the regular season.
And they win the Super Bowl.
Got hot when it mattered. Different in the NBA with the 7-game series and all of that. Nevertheless, the regular season will be similar. You got to just stay with it. Leadership matters now.
And that's an important point you bring up, David, because this is year 1 for head coach Adrian Griffin. So it's going to be some learning curves along the way, right? So that'll be something to watch, as Missoula had from Boston last year.
It's one reason why I have Milwaukee just a little bit lower than probably other people. I don't know where. I didn't look to see what Vegas did, but I bet they're over 50 in most places. But probably. I don't trust the new coach all that well.
As far as the Celtics go, David, I love their top 6 in their rotation.
Yeah, who doesn't?
It's phenomenal. 7 through 10. I don't know so much.
Well, no one does. Yeah, that's an area of weakness. That's where coaching, player development really comes in. Got to develop these guys. You got to give them rope to fail. You got to give them room to just figure stuff out, not overdo it, not panic. I've been talking to the players around the league these last few weeks. I'm encouraged by what I've heard from a lot of the players about what their coaches have told them. Now, I don't believe anything anyone says this time of year. I'd rather them take the approach they've taken. Let's see what happens in the regular season. You start seeing guys get yanked and not getting back in for a mistake, then that's a bad sign. But look, that's not happening yet.
That's a Tibbs special, right? Tibbs is big on that. A young guy will play, he messes up, you don't see him for weeks, and guys in the NBA. Listen, you need depth to manage the regular season. It's 82 games. You have to play these guys because ultimately, as we know every year, when an injury happens, which it will come postseason, how do you know if you can trust anybody in your bench when they haven't played all season? Right now, you're in trouble. But if we've gone 10 deep all year, I trust these guys because they've had experience. We'll see which coaches can actually hold up to that. You, I think, are probably higher on the Raptors than maybe a lot of other people are this year. What is it about the Raptors? I think you had them at 45 wins.
Maybe a 4 seed.
Yeah.
A 4. Here's why. It's not rocket science. They won 41 last year, and it was a terrible year. They won 41. They were 15-10 with Pirtle, who totally changed them as they just haven't had a defensive center since Marc Gasol. Last time they had a defensive center, they won the championship. Now I realize they acquired Leonard. I like their coaching change. I thought Nick had kind of run out of gas with this group, and hopefully he'll do well in Philly. Darko, I got a good feel for Darko. I like what they ran this preseason. They destroyed the preseason, by the way. Undefeated, killed everybody.
Very good.
Number 1 all across the board, and the same kind of stat they've always done before, only better. And then when you've got a dynamic duo like Boston does, like Milwaukee does, you're pretty good. They've got Siakam, who's a year removed from All-NBA and almost made it again last year, if one for Jaylen Brown. And the way people kind of lobbied to get Jaylen Brown and Pascal probably would have got it. And I really thought I did not know how Scotty Barnes looked this summer. I did not like how he looked this summer. I did not know how he would look in the preseason. He looked really good. He was very forceful. I didn't see the joy that I once saw from him, but I did see a lot of force. They're going to bully you at the rim, in transition, on the glass, in creating turnovers and going to the rim. They're big and tall. They've upgraded from Kyle Lowry and Fred VanVleet to Scotty Barnes at point guard.
That's pretty good.
And then they got OG and Pirtle defensively, with Siakam being kind of versatile. Barnes should be a plus defender. Gary Trent Jr. looks good, probably coming off the bench. They need some help. They've got to find themselves another point guard, in my opinion. Scotty and Siakam both can play the point, but they're not point guards, obviously. So, I think they're different than most of these teams. The length that they have, what Pirtle gives them, with Precious Alexandru and Preston Chua, and Koloko. We'll see if he comes back from an injury. There's another guy that they have to extend also. I just went blank on his name. Malachi Flynn, who I've always liked. He's never really made it there. They have Chris Boucher. Like, they've got plenty of guys that are pretty good.
Right.
I think those stars can really kind of push them over the edge. And I think Scotty, I told you on Thursday in our 5 bold predictions, I thought Scotty would be an all-star this year. And I don't think that's such a bold prediction. He's in year 3. He's going to have the ball in his hands a ton. And then lastly, what Darko's going to run tactically is going to be good. This is no Nick Nurse, throw the ball side to side, dribble. Right. It's going to be passing, cutting, get the ball into the joker elbow, pinch post area, play off that, post splits and the whole thing. I think they're going to be a harder team to guard. The question will be how well they shoot. That's a fair question.
And they will be an excellent defensive team, it looks like, as well. So,
it should be.
Yeah, they have the length to the versatility, the athleticism. If they commit to that end of the floor, to your point, you're not going to want to play Toronto. It's like, oh man, we're going to the Raptors tonight.
Yeah, no, they're going to create a lot of chaos, a lot of deflections. Yeah,
for sure. David, a team we didn't mention, but a team that is near and dear to my heart, because I enjoy their players. The Memphis Grizzlies suffered a tremendous blow in losing Steven Adams with PCL surgery, so he's out for the season. And everybody's talking about the offensive rebounding portion of it, and I agree. That's a big piece. The other piece that's important is Steven Adams is one of the better screen setters in the NBA. Try navigating around that big dude, going over him, fighting through. It's just you're running into a mountain. Well, who's setting that screen now?
Yeah. Salty Alabama?
As much as I love Santi, real skinny. You can get by him.
Right. It's not just that, although I think that's super important what you said. Steven Adams is really a great culture builder.
He is.
And also, not that any of these guys are soft, but if you're ever unsure if you want to step up to a guy who's been hitting you hard, it's just easier knowing you got that dude. Behind you. He's just the strongest man in the room. He's got a hell of a future in movies when he's done. He'll always be the bad guy or a great bodyguard. He'll always be that, but that's a gigantic man.
He is. He's huge.
And I think the screen setting, he's also a better passer than you'd think. Maybe the best offensive rebounder of all time. Maybe Moses Malone is better. He's incredible that way. It's an issue. When I talk to players, if I, over the course of 21 years now, no one ever wanted to go against Kobe because he's just going to shoot every time and he can get any shot he wants. Iverson was hard to go. I mean, I could go on and on with players. Steven Adams is just, nobody wants to play against him.
Yeah. He's
immovable.
Very big and strong.
Immovable. And there's value to the identity of the Grizzlies wrapped up in him. And now that Ja's out for 25 games, I might have had them be a 1 seed had Adams not been hurt, and Morant not suspended.
Right, I agree.
They do have the potential, though, Jarod, I think you'd agree with this, to fight about maybe a little bit better than average until they get Ja back, knowing where they can get once he really gets rolling. It's going to take a while. He's allowed to practice.
Yeah, he's practiced and traveled with the team.
He just can't play.
Right.
But still, they don't practice much.
No.
So he'll work out. He'll work out with the guys that aren't playing and some managers. Every team's got that situation. It's not the same.
No.
So it's going to be a bit. And hopefully he's taking care of the other things in his life. And also the shame of that is an issue when you've been suspended for something like this. I hope he's completely past all of it. He should be. He can be. And then the Grizzlies can feel like, okay, 15 games into his return, we should be rolling.
Especially because he'll be so fresh. So He'll be like, as you said, like a
Christian
Ferrari.
Brown. He'll be like Christian Brown.
Yeah, flying around.
Yeah. Except he's way better. Right.
Yeah. He's an all-NBA guard.
He'll be like a really good Christian Brown. Yeah, in the playoffs. Yeah, he'll be really fresh. Yeah, that's a scary thought.
So if the Grizzlies do not go out and figure out how to get their center via trade or what have you, there's going to be a lot of Jaren Jackson Jr. minutes at the 5. I love Tripp. You love Tripp. Him at the 5 means more potential for fouls, which is still an issue for him that keeps him off the court. So that's going to be something that he has to watch very closely if he does play a lot of 5, which he will. Got to stay on the floor. His offensive game's got to make a level up without Ja and without Steven Adams, which we talked about. Desmond Bane also is a playmaker, which we've seen a little bit of in the preseason. That has to also everyone level up. They don't have Tyus Jones now, right? So everyone's got to do a little bit more and be a little bit better for them to, be a good team.
Remember, they had a couple of years ago, Tyus Jones and Anthony Melton.
Correct. Now they got neither
players.
Yeah,
right. They're both gone. Xavier Tillman will be important and has been good for them before. I think Jake LaRavia's got to step up. David Roddy, both of them. The guy that I'm most excited about is Zaire Williams.
He looked really good in preseason.
He was in my top 8 2 seasons ago and the 2 drafts ago, and we'll see if he can translate preseason regular season, but. Boy, if he's good, that's a game changer.
Yes, huge.
An athletic 3 that can shoot. Oh, yeah. Who doesn't want that guy?
They picked him in the top 10, if I'm not mistaken.
I thought he was 8th.
Okay.
I thought he was exactly where I had him ranked 8th.
So
which isn't normally the case.
I'm not expecting right away, but if he starts to level towards where they picked him at, where you think that, like you said, huge for this team. That's found money.
I mean, if he can be 35% from 3 and not get torched on defense, that's progress.
Oh, huge. You're right. Yeah. That may sound like, that's not a big deal. No, that's huge. That is huge for a young player. Very hard.
Yeah, he's like 22 years old. Yeah.
It's so hard because he came in super young. He put on some muscle too, which I was impressed with over the summer. All right, guys, we'll be back after this brief commercial break. Okay. A funny video. Well, not funny video, but a video has made its way around the internet. Paul Pierce has a show on Showtime Basketball called KG Certified. And it's him, Paul Pierce is often there a lot. And, David's already shaking his head because, for as great as those two were as players, and we know they're smart and know the game of basketball, they just start saying things just because it'll get ratings. And it's just, so Paul's got his sunglasses on. He's like, let me tell you right now. He's like, Victor Wembanyama, I see what I need to see. He's top 5 in the NBA right now as far as skill goes. And I was like, oh boy, here we go. This is going to be a thing now. And KG's like, you don't even know what he's doing yet, which I do agree with that part. He does not know what he's doing yet.
Does not.
And he's like, and Paul goes, he could do what KD does. He could do what AD does. I seen him put the ball on the ground. I seen him shoot it. I seen him get dumps over people in traffic. I'm like, Paul, you've seen glimpses. You've seen him do that once or twice. The reason why he isn't there yet, in my opinion, is because he does not do it consistently yet. And he's not, to KG's point, he doesn't even know what he's doing yet. One day, he could be, potentially, his career could be as great as KD's or someone like that. But you don't know that on day one. We have a long, long way to go. But I thought it was funny, and I love your thoughts on it.
I mean, he would have had to have gone through the greatest metamorphosis in human history to go from the player he was in France last year to a top 5 NBA skill guy.
Right.
Player
skill.
Right. He shot 29% from 3 in Pro A France last year.
Correct.
What are we talking about here? He's the most skilled NBA 7'4" power forward ever.
Facts.
Because there's none of those guys. Him and Mark Eaton, who wasn't a power forward. But yeah, nowhere close. But I think what their point is, and I'm going to be gracious about this. I did really like both of them as players. Paul Pierce really grew on me when he outfought LeBron James for a jump ball, loose ball at the end of that Game 7. I fell in love with him then, just tough as nails. And I liked him when he was at UCLA as more of just a scorer.
Kansas.
But where? Kansas, yeah. Yeah, he's from LA, yes. Played at Kansas. I always get that confused, but yeah, I liked him at Kansas. They're just creating buzz. I don't even think they're thinking about clicks. You and I both have probably spent our days surrounded by people who love a sport as much as we do, whether it's in a bar, the barbershop, wherever. And that's what it is. I'm all for it because it creates interest.
Which we like.
But which we like. But we're not going to take them seriously when they're
Right.
saying Victor Wembanyama top 5 skill. There are at least 5 players on every team and in every position in the league much, much better than him skill-wise. Potentially, though, that's a different story.
Correct.
He's got the potential to do a lot of crazy things, and he's going to be the runaway favorite. He is the runaway favorite to win Rookie of the Year for sure.
He is.
As good as Chet looks. Victor, they're going to let Victor just play and figure stuff out. He checks every box, so I'm a big believer in him.
I mean, you said it last week. It's, if he's just healthy, David, like that, right? If he manages to be healthy his whole career, that's number one. That is the number one factor determining how great he's going to be, because we see it, right?
Yeah.
You can see him also from his first summer league game to the second one, from his first preseason to the last one. He's a smart basketball player. He's like, oh, I see they know that this is coming. Let me do this instead. Like, he's already like doing little subtle things. It's incredible. And to your point, we talked about it last week. Pop didn't really coach him hard early. Just kind of let me watch and see what he does. And now he knows, okay, he likes to do this thing. And now Pop can really be like, all right, this isn't a great shot.
Yeah, it's been a couple weeks now, Jarod. And talking to someone from San Antonio, I literally just got a text from someone there just now. Pop's starting to do that offensively. Like, Victor, what the fuck? I'm just paraphrasing. What kind of fucking shot are you taking here? Right? But to what you just said, which I really like what you just said, one of the best things about Victor is he's been this guy for a while. And so what that means is he's seen freaky defenses. He's seen attention. He's been the target of the teeth of a defense, right? The scouting report where he's the lead guy. It isn't new. He's already been dealing with it. So in his brain, he's already been comfortable having to adjust things during the course of the game. And then also game to game to game to game, his teams will do what they have to do to rally up to make it tougher on him. His brain has become more agile that way. The difference is our league is full of just the quickest, longest, fastest, strongest, toughest motherfuckers ever.
Mutants.
Yeah, right. It's never going to end. And he's going to see every game. Devin Vassell's going to get the best perimeter defender. Victor's going to get the best defender above 6'6". No matter what after that, it doesn't matter. Every night, every single night. It's not going to be Zach Collins. It's not going to be Keldon Johnson. It's going to be Victor. And these guys are competitive.
Yeah.
And they're going to be studying tape. Right? How do I stop this guy? How do I slow this guy? And then word catches fire. Do this, whatever. And all of a sudden there's a book.
Right.
And let's just follow that book. It's going to take a few weeks.
Yep.
And he's dealt with this before, just never at this level. And you don't practice.
Correct.
He's always practiced a ton. No. It's just games. So that's going to take a toll on his body for sure.
Yeah. He'll definitely feel that. But that point you made about the book, once the book gets out and people know, go back to Paul and KG, every great player has faced this in their career. The Jordan rules. LeBron can't do every great player has had it. Steph, be physical, all the things. And the great ones, they come back and they say, okay, I know what this is now. Here's my counter to that. Here's a counter off of the counter to that, right? That's what makes these guys great, is the constant refining.
Right. Well, and I'll be very specific about this. I'm lucky enough to get to help sometimes with the world's best players, not just good NBA players, but the best ones. And so as someone I was talking to recently, you have to relentlessly pursue every moment you can where you can get something easy. So as an example, this is not something I've ever done. I don't know Dame Lillard. But if I was working with Dame Lillard, he wouldn't need me, because every single time you go under the screen, he's shooting the three. Every single time. You cannot make that mistake without him making you pay for it. He may not make but 4 and 10, but he's going to shoot it every time. So with the player I'm talking to, with some other players, it's whatever they're really amazing at, that teams know they're amazing at, but still fuck up sometimes. So when they do, you have to take advantage of it every time. I already know the book on Victor. The book's going to get bigger as we start knowing him better and better, but I've watched all his preseason games. I know exactly what you need to do today in game 1 to make it harder on him to do that which he does best and easiest. Remember, it doesn't matter if someone can do it if they can't make it.
Right.
You got to be able to make it. So he can make offensive shots. He can make offensive rebound putbacks. You got to keep him off the glass. he wants to leak out and get big at the rim.
Mm-hmm.
You've got to get a big back there. You also need to try to occupy outlet passers potentially.
Mm-hmm.
This guy gets the rebound and getting his head up, seeing if he can throw it to Victor down the court. You got to tall up on that guy, harass him so he can't so easily throw it to him. These little things, attacking Victor's dribble, all these kinds of things matter. But when a team messes up, so, for example, Victor gets the race out,
mm-hmm.
and they don't occupy the outlet passer, and the guy back is only 6'4", who is a foot. Think of someone I'm 6 feet tall. My wife 5'7". If she was 5 feet tall, she'd be tiny. My kids were over 5 feet by the time they were in 8th grade, whatever. Well, that's the difference in size. So if someone doesn't occupy that outlet guy, Victor's got to make sure he races to the rim and gives luck a chance to happen.
Right.
Hope the other team screws up. Because every 2 points you don't get easily is 2 points you have a hard time making up.
Mm-hmm.
You got to do it, right? And but he's going to figure that out. That there's a sameness to that, a cold-blooded sameness to these kinds of guys. I remember Daryl Morey saying he told James Harden when he first traded for him. I'm sorry, not Daryl Morey. Mike D'Antoni
mm-hmm.
told him. Something like, if they go under a screen 100 times in a game, I want you shooting 100 threes. That's beautiful advice. Don't think about what's happened already.
Right.
You just do it. Just be ready to do it every single damn time.
I love that.
Victor's gonna develop a better sense of that. I tell you what, France is gonna really appreciate what he does when he gets back there next summer.
Mm-hmm.
After a year in this league, provided he can move. Oh, he's gonna be so much better. Much better. Yeah,
it's gonna be good. No, it'll be nice because odds are San Antonio's not going to make the playoffs or the play-in, so he'll have some rest between the end of the season and
probably.
Yeah. You never know. Right. The crazy things can happen.
Play-in more so than playoff, obviously.
Right.
It's just stacked.
Yes.
A lot of good teams.
It's a hard conference for sure and a hard league. But you're right. He's going to be so good. What do you think about them playing Collins and him together? I kind of like that. With Sochan kind of de facto point running it, that's kind of neat what the San Antonio's doing.
Well, for sure, Zach Collins, because he shoots a three,
mm-hmm.
and Zach has. I think JJ Redick said this, but you could tell me if I'm wrong. He was talking about Chet, but Zach's got some like fuck you in his game too.
He does.
He you can be rich or poor, black or white or Asian, Latino, whatever. Tough dudes are tough dudes.
Mm-hmm.
Zach may look one way,
right?
He ain't soft.
No.
He's been injury prone. Happens. Really tough guys get injured prone all the time, getting hurt all the time too. And so I think that's good for Victor that Zach plays with an edge and has a lot to prove.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that's a good partnership. Jeremy, I have a question about. Jeremy can't shoot still,
right?
But he likes Scotty Barnes. He's a good passer, not to Scotty's level, but a good passer, able to defend multiple positions. He's interesting. I'd like to see more shooters around Victor.
Yeah, for
Although
sure.
the way Victor potentially is going to shoot is going to make up for it.
And what's great about him and Zach is you can intertwine them, right? Because both can shoot. So one can go inside, one can go outside, and you can flip them depending on whatever is going on.
I completely agree. Victor does not want to be put in a box. He has said this, I think, publicly.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
That no one's going to keep me from bringing him up the floor. Well, that's not true. Pop will do it if you suck at it.
And some little guard will keep taking the ball away from you.
But if you can prove that you can do it without losing the ball, keep going, big fella. Just makes this better.
Right. No, it's going to be so fun watching. They play Wednesday night against the Dallas Mavericks, so that'll be fun.
Dallas.
I got to laugh about this. I put this in our chat, and Coach said every team does this, but it was just hilarious watching this assistant coach do it.
Oh, yeah.
So Godsham got on the Dallas Mavericks assistant coach. He had these, I don't even know what they were. These weird
they're pads.
Okay, weird extension pads on his arms, and he was mimicking Victor's wingspan. It was the most hilarious thing I've ever seen. And I've seen
why do you think it was Victor? Was he saying Victor?
Yes, they were saying Victor.
Okay, because they played them the first game.
Yes, to get them used to, because you play tall people. You would never played anybody this tall with that wingspan.
Right. And you know his wingspan, right?
8 foot.
8 foot.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter after that.
That's ridiculous.
What is Gobert? 7'6", 7'9", something huge.
He's a condor.
This is 8. Yeah, right. It is. I had a player on their team for the Spurs tell me, months ago, June maybe, I don't remember. Everyone in the league's gonna get their shot blocked by him in a shocking way, because it's the same shot they've taken their whole life and gotten it off, and he's just gonna block it. That's why This guy said to me, I think he can block 5 shots a game. I'm not sure he can.
I mean,
because I think people will adjust, but he's going to block a lot.
For sure.
Yeah.
And it made me think of when I was watching Shamgod do that. He did a lot for 3-point shooters. It made me think about your drill you do with your guys. You're like, shoot it with exaggerated arc.
Yeah.
You're going to shoot with regular arc.
That's right.
So you might have to shoot with a little bit exaggerated arc when that guy's coming out. He blocked Klay Thompson in that preseason game at 3. Klay's never got a 3-point shot blocked in his life. I don't think.
Really?
I don't think so. Like,
wow.
I mean,
I didn't even see that.
I'm like, geez.
Oh, this was Friday night.
Yeah.
I was at my reunion party. I didn't see the game.
It was nuts. I was like, God, this guy's crazy. And he had 3 blocks on Wiggins alone. And Wiggins is super athletic and got.
Did he really?
Didn't matter.
What do you have, 5 blocks in the game?
Yeah. Didn't matter. I was like, oh, this is.
He's going to set a record for rookie block shots in terms of like how many times he gets 5 or more in a game. Yeah. He'll have some where he doesn't get very many. He's going to have like 3 or 4 or 5 or 8 or 9, 5 blocks in games.
Over under in his career on 10 block games?
Oh, I would. If it's 4, I would probably still pick the under. That's a lot of blocks for this league. For this league,
you're right.
Yeah, no. To your point about arc, like these guys, they've got all that stuff in their game. Yeah, they're gonna, and the book that's gonna be in the book too.
Yeah,
like think twice before you just shoot the shot. He's coming. Yeah. Yeah, and he does. He gets those hands up everywhere. Yeah.
And oh my God, it's so crazy to watch him. I'm super excited to watch this guy. All right, David, as you know, the NBA is negotiating its next broadcast rights deal. And this is, I know, guys, you hear me talk about this and you're like, oh, who gives a crap about this? No, this is very important because this is where the league's money source comes from for the next umpteen amount of years, going into 2030 and beyond. And the word on the street is they're looking for between $50 and $75 million. First of all, that is a shit ton of money, number one. Number two, it's going to be stretched out over 8 to 10 years, depending on how long the last deal was 8 years. So it's probably around what they're looking for. And we know now with the different streaming services that exist, it's probably going to be some kind of a hybrid. And by that, I mean, it's not going to be just Disney saying, yeah, we'll give you, that's not happening. It's going to be maybe Disney for a little piece, maybe TNT for a little piece, perhaps a streaming giant for a little piece, because no one group is going to give the NBA what it wants. Particularly, that's a big number, especially with the regular season rating numbers that we've seen over the past few years. That's an issue of concern, which is why they're waging this war on load management and saying, I don't care, stars have to play games, right? Because they want to see that. I thought it was fascinating because this article in Front Office Sports talked about the Amazon potentially wanting to create a Thursday night football package they have, similar for the NBA. So a Tuesday night package, or could it be Thursday night? Who knows? Whatever. And I think that's interesting because if for some reason TNT doesn't keep their, which I'm not saying they will or won't, would Amazon then say, okay, we're importing the TNT show, right? We want you guys, you come here and we'll give you guys Thursday night or whatever. It's gonna be really interesting. I think the other piece of this is regular over the top TV. So channels 2, 4, 5, 7, 9, 11, 13, no cable. I think it's important the league gets back on regular TV as well if they want to capture, a large base of fans.
I don't know much about that world. I do know that the regional telecasts should set record ratings numbers because all of these teams, all of them, have a hell of a player or two and are going to be in the playoffs playoff hunt for quite a while.
Yeah.
Because no one's going to run away from them.
Yep.
You're going to be all bunched together. So why do you watch drama? Why do you watch intrigue? Suspense of, are we going to make the playoffs or not, right? Are we going to win this game or not? So they're going to watch if they're definitely going to win. They're not going to watch, they're definitely going to lose.
Right.
And everything in the middle is good.
Yeah.
And it's going to be in the middle, I think. And how much are they hoping to get from all?
Between $50 and $75 billion.
Oh, billion.
Yeah,
I thought you said million.
No, billion.
That's what really confused me.
Yeah.
Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
Now I understand it.
Yes.
Jeez.
That's all.
Yeah. So I think you got it right. It's gonna be the Amazon Tuesday night, and the HBO Max Thursday night or whatever.
Well, that's the other piece, right? So you have HBO Max, Warner Discovery, which if you're a Max subscriber, you'll look in and you'll see that they have the baseball playoffs, coming live event in the Warner Brothers Discovery HBO, because that's all these things are owned by conglomerates, right?
Right.
That's how this works. So we're gonna see that. And the other piece about this too is the in-season tournament. As that gets more popular, and I think it will, Like, Marcus Smart said his whole life, well, nobody cares about that. All right, Marcus, you got to at least.
He doesn't know any better.
Right. You got to at least play the game a little bit, dude. Come on. But I think ultimately these guys are going to be like, this in-season tournament's kind of a thing, and I'd like to win that. And if that happens, that's a separate piece you can bill out also and say, okay, the in-season tournament sponsored by YouTube TV, which, by the way, YouTube TV is another one who may be billing for a portion of the NBA's broadcast deal. So it'll be fascinating to see how this plays out over the next couple of years, because right now, David, the incumbents have an exclusive broadcast negotiating window.
Right.
And once that ends in 2025, I believe, then it's free for all. So, you have the advantage, right, in that exclusive window. So if you really want this package,
get it done.
Otherwise, Apple's talked about wanting to get in the game. Netflix has talked about wanting to be in a sports game. And Apple already did it with Messi and MLS soccer. So, why not? This is just more IP for them and more eyeballs and people to get on their subscription, which is what they want.
How does Peacock do with the Premier League?
Well, very well. And, Peacock is NBC's. That's their consumer app, their streaming app. And that's the other
Makes
piece.
Sense.
Every company's going to go with, we have our streaming app, so come to us and we'll stream. So that's the future. More and more people watch games on. I'm holding up my phone. This or on that than they do on actual TVs. Well, you, David, you're different. You have to watch them on TVs because you got to analyze and talk to players.
I do it on everything. I have all my screens running. Yeah, I have a lot of screens going. Yeah, starting tomorrow night. Tomorrow night's just one game, and then another game after that. Wednesday night is when every Sunday my wife and I meet, and I get my calendar out, and I think I told you in our kitchen she has a whole 30-day calendar on a gigantic whiteboard. She painted it, so she's writing with a grease pen, and so she's got to go through my schedule for the week. She doesn't care who's playing.
Right.
She just needs to know the times of the game so she can track it. We did it today. It's a lot of games.
When you make your calendar, is it primarily for? I would imagine the first thing is guys you have and what teams are on.
Guys that I need to watch, and then I don't do big games now because But yeah, I told her Tuesday night I need to watch the games. You talk about what we're doing for Substack in a minute. Mm-hmm. So Tuesday night's opening night, and then it's games that I really need to watch. We haven't done college yet. That's coming.
Yes,
I've got my son's team and four other teams I have to track. So it's we went out and really partied Saturday night when I came back from Gainesville. I took her out last night. I'll take her out probably tomorrow night before the game. And then I'll see her again in April. No. I'll see. Luckily, she goes to bed 9:15 during the week. So I can normally catch up pretty good after there. I see her play. We'll be okay. We've done this a long time now.
David, these West Coast games, man. Come on, guys. You're killing me with these West Coast tips. 10:30, come on.
It used to be really easy for me, and I'm not going to lie, that staying up for 2 a.m. was just nothing. Yeah. Even in my 40s. Not as easy now. Yeah. My 8-minute naps are going to go to 15-minute naps during the day. I'm not even kidding. I need that. I used to need 8. I need 5 hours of sleep a night. That's all I need.
It doesn't.
Plus the 8 minutes.
As much as we love basketball, watching 2-3 games in a night, it's a lot, man. Especially when you got to go late. All right, guys. David mentioned we are doing something very cool tomorrow. We're going to be doing an opening night watch along on Substack. It's going to be all of us here at True, Henry, Travis, David, and myself. And we're going to be joined by Jarod Dubin. A lot of you guys know him from Last Night in Basketball, his Substack post, Katie Heindel, and Tom Haberstroh, friend of the show, who has his own Substack post as well. All these great people, NBA people, have their own Substack posts. So we will be doing a watch along starting at 7 p.m. Tomorrow night. It's going to be for that first game, which will be ring night in Denver for Lakers versus the Nuggets. I feel like there's a stat somewhere where it's like on ring night, the home team. I don't.
Bad.
Not good. Yeah, it's not. I know it's not good.
Human nature,
right?
Human nature. It's
We're
hard to be celebrating and then tough and gritty too.
Right.
Yes,
right.
Tough balance.
Yeah. So we'll be doing that tomorrow night. I will drop the link for that in the show notes today. So when you guys look at that, you can get on there, join us, and it'll be a good time. All right, everybody, enjoy opening night. David and I will see you on Thursday when we'll have tons to talk about from the first 3 nights in the NBA. Take care.